Their charts can appear hollow and yet viewed as fact. One is real and one isn't. Determining which is which will lead to mass panic. People will become sick on the illusion. Is it pervasive or invasive? Is it A.I or A space I, or is it both? But it will evolve into a new panic. Panic equals people are now in control. Next piece. We have spoken in the past about the night and day of Svarog, where our solar system passes through zones of space that can enhance the light in one period of time and enhance the dark in the next period. And this is covered very well by Nikolai Levashov, apart from one thing: the dates. Levashov's dates of the night of Svarog was from 6496, which is 988 AD, to 7504, which ends the night sometime between 1995 and 1996 AD. But this didn't fit into certain timelines, agreements, and also statements made by the former king of the world, MARDUK. And so we set about trying to work it out from the period of 16,000 years ago, and now following a statement that was passed to us on March the 21st of, quote, their tenure is over, unquote. This was to do with the dark entities and their playground of the night of Svarog. And during that time, the dark almost has a complete free rein to create as much havoc as possible, and the light has little to no support to fight it off, if they are seduced by it, which many humans did. But during the day of Svarog, it is the time of the light, and things start to develop better for those operating in the light. But remember, we all have aspects of ourselves that is both light and dark. 51% light is enough to be in that bracket, or the dance of the light and against the dark. But also remember, the dark teaches us our greatest lessons if you observe it, not absorb it. Big difference. You have to understand that the dark doesn't go away in the day of the Svarog, but it has to come into the light to operate and continue their games, and so they get exposed that way. And it becomes easier to see and more difficult for them to operate. And so what they do is they operate under stealth of convincing you they are the light when they are the dark. Which is exactly what is playing out now, is it not, with the Federal Reserve takeover? Because it's the same program, and they are presenting themselves as the saviour which is perhaps and may explain the whole narrative around the year zero time and the Saviour Jesus, known as JC or Jesus Christ, when it was actually JC and Julius Caesar. And BC could possibly mean before Caesar. The Draco came in as the saviour in the period of the night of Svarog time as well. But what if the light played our own game of installing light beings in their night of Svarog? Could that have been the case 1,000 years ago when Radomir and Mary Magdalene were around teaching the world a better way? Like the Rus and the Aryans did in the Garden of Eden in India, which worked for a while, but the dark were too pervasive. Again, it fits into the night and day timelines of the Svarog. So it was said that the night ended in 1996. But what if it was not 1996 and was actually 2020? If you add 24 to 1996, it equals 2020. If you add 24 to 988, it is 1012. So to those who said it was 1,000 years that the Svarog lasted, that would make it 2012. And why we had the big fuss over that year, as some said it's ascension time and the others said the world's going to end time, which was also pushed by the Mayans and other tribal cultures of Central America. And yet we have found all of the globe tribes were not only infected with the Kalimar, but taught wrong history and timelines by the dark forces. But the actual length of the day and night of Svarog is 1,008 years, not 1,000 years. And so 1,012 plus 1,008 years is 2020. The day of the Svarog started on the first equinox, March the 21st, 2020, which is why the pagan elements, who are the dark forces, declared their secret martial law on the very same day, which is also a celebration of Ostara, which was later to be Christianized into Easter and the fake Jesus story of dying for 3 days and ascending, which is the 3 days of darkness the alt media are pushing, like David Wilcock. He said it was to start on April the 10th, which just happens to be Good Friday this year. You're seeing the picture now. We're now in the day of the Svarog, where the light prosper, where the light has triumphed over the dark. And it's up to us all to enhance that by lighting up our beacons, but to also be aware of their underhanded intentions of presenting themselves as light when they are not.